But I love coming here. I love coming to SeaWorld. As you'll hear in the next speech, probably a little bit, I might repeat myself. That's just the way I am. Some of you know that I started here. My first job was at the Central Florida Zoo, which was the Sanford Zoo, by the way, which was on 2 acres in downtown Sanford, next to the courthouse there. And it wasn't something to brag about. That zoo was probably twice as big as this whole room here. But back then, a lot of the zoos in this country, I'm sorry to say, should have been shut down. When I say that, that's because that was in the night, that's how old I am, 1950s and 60s, all right? Today, we have 221 zoos and aquariums, all the SeaWorld and Busch Gardens parks being a part of that. They're probably the largest in the country. But when that said, 221, last year, 176 million people visited the 221 zoos and aquariums. 176 million, that's counted attendance. That's not the attendance for our education programs. The largest recreation in America today, bigger than pro football, NASCAR, whatever, you put a lot of them together, you don't come up with 176 million people. So you see how this whole world has changed, this country has changed in what we have in zoos right now. You can look around here and see what these animals have, and I can speak this, and yes, I will get into the issue of the documentary. I do not name the name of that documentary because I'll never allow myself to do that again, because there's no use even talking about it, it's that bad.
Yep.
However, you see what we have here. About 95 to 98% of our animals are, I know there's kids here right now, I usually know me as a fun person, but obviously, when there's issues like this, I really jump in. As I get older, I even jump in deeper probably, that might not benefit me a lot, but I know down deep in my heart what's right and what's wrong. When you look at these habitats here, you see what I see in the wild. Most all these animals here are probably born here or in other parts throughout the country. And so, the habitats that cost the money here, not just at Columbus Zoo and other zoos, are in the millions. We just built a polar bear habitat for $26 million for 3 polar bears. I don't know, maybe you live in a $26 million house, I know. With water cooled at 52 degrees year round, I can go on and on for you. And with that said, even SeaWorld, Busch Gardens, all the top accredited zoos, which there are quite a few of them, send money to animals in the wild. For example, we have a rule at the Columbus Zoo, if we build a habitat like that, we send $1 million to the polar bears at the North Pole because they have a few problems there. If we build a tiger habitat, we send $500,000 to the tigers in India. If we build, I can go on and on for you. The grizzly bears, whatever it might be, we now dedicate that portion to that. And last year in this country, the 221 zoos sent $47 million, a little bit more than that, to animals in the wild. So you don't hear of these things, do you?
No.
I don't think you do. You don't hear much about SeaWorld. They don't keep it private. We all know what they do as far as release programs. Back in about 15 years ago, maybe a little longer than that, you opened your manatee exhibit here. I don't remember that or not, some of you have seen it. A lot of you from Florida, right, you know what the manatee is. Mm-hmm. You know what happened this year to your manatee? How many were lost here? You've been reading the papers? Over 700 this year. 700. I think it might be the largest loss or the second largest loss in the history of Florida. Where you can't take an animal, and some people say there's 2,500, some people say there's 4,000. You know, it's hard to tell. They can't come with the exact terms. I've done this I'm 67 years old, for 40 years. I've followed these people that take numbers. They do it by sections. They take pictures. There's no way you know how many are really left. You get within maybe 100 to 200. But what I'm saying is, if it hadn't been for SeaWorld, and this will go down in history, by the way, in the history books. It may take a while, like politics. You'll see who's a good president, who's a bad one. The point is, you will see that SeaWorld will be responsible for saving the manatee from extinction. Guarantee you. How's that? Because 15, 20 years ago when I came here, I saw the manatees here. They were packed in here with rehab manatees. Not just the cold weather or the red tide, you call it, or maybe some boating accidents. And I'm a fisherman, so I'm not against boating. You have great laws in Florida about slowing your engines down. It's like people get hit too on the road. But these things happen to animals. And I saw how crowded they were, so I went back to Columbus, Ohio. I told the board of trustees, I said, we have to build a manatee exhibit. They thought I was crazy. They said, Jack, that's going to cost a lot of money. I said, I don't care. Let's raise $14 million. It took us a long time to raise $14 million, 2 years. We built a manatee exhibit, one of 5 in the country to rehab manatees. So now we help out, because SeaWorld started this whole thing, and now just not us, but 5 other facilities in this country rehab the manatee. The manatee gets hurt down here, cold, or the red tide, and they don't have room here or at the Florida parks, which I think 2 or 3 of them take care of the manatee. And what we do is we fly them to Columbus in a jumbo jet. That costs us $30,000 per manatee. We have to fly them back for $30,000. That's $60,000 without even helping the animal yet. And so then we bring the animal, we put him in our tank, a big old tanks like this, rehab them, get them in a bigger tank than that with other ones. Then we get better, we fly them back down here, put the radio collars on, which costs about $15,000. We track them in that. We've only lost out of 16, I think, or so, only 2. And now the rest of them are back in the wild. So I'm just telling you these things, folks, because you don't hear this kind of stuff. You know why you don't hear it? You adults know, because nothing in the news is supposed to be good anymore, I guess. It's supposed to all be bad. But I just believe in this park. I know what they've done. I've been here 24/7 for 30-something years. It's 5 in the morning, 4 in the morning, 12 in the morning, 1 in the morning, all day long. I see what happens here. And the staff here, including what I do in Columbus, it's not the money involved. If it was, some of these people do a lot of other things in life. It's because they love what they do. These are their families here. And you'll see, I think Dawn's mother that lost her life here at SeaWorld did with us all day yesterday, had dinner with her last night, and she's here with her family. And what hurts me the most about this documentary is that those families and those children have to see that kind of stuff the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
Now, if you think that's the right thing to do for television, I don't need to have you that answer. Most of you know what that answer is, and you seem that most of the public would know that. So by you being here today, everyone, does so much for me, and not forget me, for these folks that work here full time, these trainers, these keepers, these people that serve the food, these people that love this place like their family. What your support here means more than anything in the world. I've never said that before. I've said thank you for coming to SeaWorld the last 30 years I've been speaking here. People say, oh, if you see me debates, oh, Jack, Hanna, you know, Peter and stuff. Jack, you get paid a lot of money. Folks, I do so much stuff here for money. It's pitiful because I love the parks, period. If I want to make more money, I can do another television series. But that's not what life's all about. So I just, again, want to thank you. You've never heard me talk this way, probably. And I hope you'll never hear me talk in this way, except for that show, obviously. But I'll make it a little bit shorter. It's just this kind of intimate audience here. But again, thank you all for coming here today, because it really means a lot to this park right now with what they're having to put up with. But I think in a few weeks you're going to see some things changing. You're going to hear some real stories being told because investigations have been done. You're going to hear a lot about some of these folks saying these things, let's say. Dawn's mother is the dearest lady. She probably made one of our shows this morning. And when you know, if you met her and you knew who Dawn was, I did her memorial service here at the zoo, you'd understand that she gave her life doing what she loves to do. And in our business, everyone understands something. Things happen in our business. Steve Roman was a good friend of mine. Things happen to a couple of people out in this business. But it's like getting hit by lightning. Things happen in any business. I don't care what you do. But that kind of thing is kind of what happens. But if you don't mind, I'm just going to take 2 questions. I know I'm not supposed to. I know that, but I'm still going to do it. Anyway, I love doing what somebody tells me I do. But my dad was 6'6". I did with you. He'd go with you on our farm. I better do it real quick. I knew what the consequence was going to be. Yes, that little man there. You what? My most memorable moment, boy, that, you know something? I've had it. What's your favorite animal? How have you been bitten? I've had. How old are you? 10. That's great. A 10-year-old asked me a question I can't answer. Man. You know, one of my most memorable moments. Obviously, we have children. We get married. I celebrated 45 years last week. All sorts of memorable moments. But the one I'll never forget. And you know what? I was 11 years old. Because when I went to work for a veterinarian in Tennessee, cleaning cages, he was on our farm, came to our farm. I said, I want to go clean cages, Dr. Roberts. He's gone now. He said, okay, think I'll last him one day, right? I cleaned cages for 5 years, every day, learning about animals. He was also a veterinarian in a little zoo there. That second week I was there, he gave me $10. He never had been paid any money to do anything. On the farm, you just did it, you know. But $10, I'll never forget that. For me, it wasn't necessarily the money, it was that, wow, I've got a job, you know. But remember something, you're too young to understand this. My dad taught me 3 words on the farm, 3 words. Hard work, that's not pretty, it's pretty easy to remember, right? Hard work, and enthusiasm. What he meant was, Jack, work hard and love what you do. Whether you want to work on a farm, go on a gas station, have a hamburger stand, a doctor, teacher, or whatever. Just love what you do, and you have to work hard at it, that's all. And trust me, it works, all right? I know it's not memorable to you, but yeah, there was a memorable moment once when I was in a submarine about 8 years ago, a little 2-man sub, right? Trying to film, I don't know where we were, somewhere in the Caribbean. I just got out of a 4-man sub in Curacao, went down to 1,000 feet, but that was a new one. The one we did, because we didn't have much money when we first started TV, my buddy and I in Tampa, Spectrum Productions, we rented a oil rig submarine to help 2 people. Well, I didn't know anything about submarines. I got the submarine and he said, well, we can probably squeeze 3 in here. And oh my gosh, it's like a coconut. I mean, you just like this. And we get in the submarine, all of a sudden there's a block of ice with a little fan that runs by battery. I go, what is that thing? He goes, that keeps us cool. I said, a block of ice with a fan. Okay, that sounds good too. And we just, these little windows, when we go down and check these oil rigs, right? So it goes down to 100 feet, 200 feet. About 200 feet, you think I'm kidding you, then I felt a little bit of water hit my legs. I thought that was an ice cube, but it wasn't. The seal around this top of this thing was leaking, and just a rock was getting in the head like this once in a while. I said, I don't know anything about submarines, but how deep are we? He goes, we're going to go to 300, rolling on down to 400, look at this old ship down there. I go, but I don't think it's a water stream coming in like this. He goes, it is leaking a little bit more than it was yesterday, but I didn't panic, but my buddy has a camera, was freaking out on me. He goes, no, I want out of here. I said, well, we can't jump out of here now, we're going to die. So I said, please take us back up and fix the rubber band and whatever you got in this thing up there. And then he came back up, and sure enough, this thing was leaking more. So that's a very memorable moment. Yeah. One last one. I'm sorry, that moment. Another memorable moment was I was filming tiger sharks 2 years on the South Pacific. You know what a tiger shark is?
Yep.
They're unbelievable. I filmed great whites, African does, not doe in the cages, all that kind of thing. But I wanted to see the tiger shark, one of the last ones I've never seen in a while. So my wife and I were, because my wife does some of the shows with me now, we're down about 70 feet, about 30 miles out in the ocean on a shelf out there. He's one of the few people in the world that will take a dive with tiger sharks. And there's not a cage, and I'm not a person that, is a risky person. You watch my shows, I don't jeopardize our crew or myself. But the guy said that the tiger sharks are out there and you can film in a little distance off this ledge. And you can see I'm not hyper, okay? People say I would have had back in the old when I was a young boy, ADT or ADHD, AT&T, whatever.
AT&T.
Whatever it is, I had it. But so anyway, so I was trying to get geared up to dive in, see the little rough, people get seasick with my crew, and so I go out there and I remember just barely hearing this. He goes, and by the way, if a tiger shark does come, he hadn't been here in 2 weeks. I go, oh gosh, what a wasted trip. And he said, if it does come, all the fish, you see all these fish here? All the fish that are around you will disappear in 1 split second. I remember him kind of saying that, but I wasn't paying attention. So we go down there, we film, we see some sharks like that, nurse sharks, reef sharks, lemon sharks. We see sharks out there eating some, they put a big barrel down there, a box, and they feed them, yes. And a lot of he gets over half the proceeds what he does, conservation too, for the sharks. So anyway, you go down there, and they're eating all that stuff, and I'm filming, everybody's filming the 2 cameras, and I'm just kind of looking, and all of a sudden, just looking, I look around, and I was looking back this way toward the back, and all of a sudden, I look back, nothing was there, not one thing. And all of a sudden, I can't even find the camera crew or nobody. What he told us to do was kneel on the ocean floor when I saw the tiger shark. Well, I couldn't find anybody. I go, my mind went, oh wow. And I go, uh-oh. And I look around, you look at the film. The tiger shark, 17 feet, this thing was huge, it's brown like this, gorgeous. Comes up over that ledge, and you see that ceiling right there? Was a little bit more than that right over me. And so I wasn't afraid, I just was taken back. I go like this, like an idiot, I go, oh, look at that. and then the dive master behind me jerks my britches, my pants off of me, and pulls me down on the ground. And you'll see me go, what's that jerk doing? You'll see me, that's a memorable moment. But I won't get home, because now you got to go, and I can't remember anymore. Anyway, thank you all very much, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you.